The next step is to take the front piece, so we're going to hold and drag across that and group this together. So grouping it together makes it a little bit easy to work with. We can then edit and copy this to create the back piece. So if we go edit and copy, edit and paste in place, and then if we go over to the corner of the group and we start to drag it, you'll see that it goes like this. So what we actually want is it to go like this, and I'm doing that by holding Alt. What I also want to do is hold Shift, and that will stop me from distorting it. So we want to bring that inside our frame. Now the smaller you make this, the further back it will look like your frame goes. So there's no right or wrong answer to it, but you don't want it to be too far back that it looks like a huge frame. So something like that is probably about right. I'm then going to move this up, and I'm going to hold Shift while I do it to keep it in line, so that I've got a piece like this, and you can see here the front and back of the frame, and that's creating some form of perspective. This is now in front of this, which we don't want, so we're going to right click, arrange, and we're going to send it to the back, which gives us this piece here. Now we're going to connect these two pieces together using a tabletop and a couple of more poles, but we're going to do that in a couple of steps. So we'll start with the tabletop. If we zoom in so we can see a little bit better, what we want to be able to see is each end of these horizontal poles. If I take my pencil and I go over to the end, what I'm looking for is this anchor, so this green line that says anchor, and that is the point on the end of this sort of semicircle. So we get the anchor, we click on it, and we just do that on all four of these poles, and what that's doing is that's creating a shape that matches the perspective, and I can just close it back off over here. So that matches the perspective of my market stall frame, and it means that it is aligned perfectly through all of them. Now, a couple of things to finish off the tabletop. The first thing we need to do is bring this front piece to the front, because at the minute this is over the top, which doesn't make sense. So we can select this piece, right click, arrange, and bring to front. And the next thing, just add a bit of variety, will be to change this gradient a little bit. So you can use a totally different gradient if you wanted to, so there's no reason why this top couldn't be wood. So you could have a wooden tabletop, you could have it as a plastic tabletop, or you could have it metal. So it's entirely up to you what you want with this, but this is a good opportunity if you want to add a little bit of variety to your design, so it's not all just steel and grey, that you can do that. If you're going to use a gradient like this though, you still want to change it up a little bit. So one thing that you could do on your gradient is change your angle. So rather than using 90 degrees and 0 degrees, which will give you this, what you can do is you can set it to be any angle in between. So for example 45 degrees just makes it that little bit more interesting to look at. Now using a texture like this makes it look a little bit like a mirror, so you may want to decide on a different one. So again, if you need to do that, here's your swatches, drop down, open swatch library, gradients and metals, and there are different ones in here. So that one for example looks a bit more like metal and a bit less like mirrored glass. So that's the first step, and the next step is going to show you how to create these beams that are going to go across here, because we need them on this side and also at the top here.